Hi everyone, and welcome to this impromptu, short notice live stream. But of course, with the news breaking, it appears to be 100% right, 99.9% right, that Adrian Newey is indeed leaving Red Bull. I felt that it would be good just to do a very quick live stream just to talk about that and maybe get some of your thoughts as well. Mine are that there's a very good argument for Adrian doing nothing from here on in, having a lot of fun. He was in Italy last week testing a Ferrari at Mugello with his mates, with Joe McCarry, and he's potentially going to race a McLaren, I think, at Spa coming up as well. And he loves all that, and that's what he does. That's a lot of Adrian Newey's raison d'etre in the world, really, to go racing and be a racing driver, as I've often said. So after 18 years, though, it looks like he's going to leave Red Bull, probably at the end of the year, I would think. And there are two things here. One, why is he leaving? And two, where's he going to go? What is he going to do? I think he's leaving. This is only my summation, knowing Adrian a little bit. Not very much, but knowing a little bit. I suspect that everything was okay at Red Bull with the whole Christian Horner fracas until the lines were crossed, by which I mean until it became clear that Christian had been saying one thing and yet reality was something else. I can only assume it's something like that. I know Adrian quite well, and that would unsettle him, and then you'd get into a trust issue of he's saying one thing but it doesn't really look to be the case. And after 18 years of Christian Horner massaging and maintaining the most successful partnership, if you like, in Formula One history, it looks like it's come to an end because of that messy business, which is very sad. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's just a little microcosm of life, isn't it? We see these things happen periodically in life, incredibly successful partnerships or companies or relationships or even individuals, and it all gets broken apart because of something that seems to be quite trivial in the overall picture, but nonetheless does come under the heading of trust. And that's only my summation, and I shouldn't be, I'm not in any way saying this is gospel truth. I'm just giving my opinion of what I think has been the catalyst. And as I see it at the moment, Adrian has decided that it's probably time for him to move on anyway. I mean, where he is in life and everything that he's achieved. And this was probably something that he just found quite uncomfortable, I would think. And at the same time, he finds racing life very comfortable and racing himself, cars, historic classic Formula One cars, the Monaco Classic, all the rest of it. So there's that. Then there's where he might go. And already we've got a lot of questions about that and where we think he might go and what it might be. I mean, here's one, for example, of, I'll just bring it up. I mean, I will bring up some of the questions. I haven't got a massive amount of time, but the first one is, this is getting serious. So there you go. But yeah, there's a lot of questions here, a lot of comments. And I'm just trying to find where I keep putting the questions. Where do they go? Here they go. And then there's another one from Arnab Daz. Newey leaving Red Bull, and where do you think he will end up if he indeed doesn't retire? Well, let's look at those options, because he's got plenty of options. In fact, the next one says, Naren Serem says, whoa, I think he's going to Aston Martin. Alonso might have signed the deal because of this promise. Well, it's possible. I think Alonso would have signed the deal anyway, even without that promise, because it's a team in which he's found his home. He's got good backing there. The Strolls like him. He's doing a great job for Lance, sort of, and it's going to get better and better, and they've got great facilities. Of course, Aston Martin would love to. They'd all want to have Adrian Newey. That's a point that needs to be made. Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin would all want Adrian Newey for sure. My understanding is that already has been offered a lot of money by Aramco and Aston, therefore, and he's turned it down. That's my understanding of what the Aston situation is. And it doesn't surprise me, because I don't think he needs the money. I don't think money's a motivation for Adrian. I think it's racing, and it's whether he enjoys it and whether it's going to fit in with what he wants to do with other things in life. and you throw £1 billion at him now, and it's not going to make a lot of difference. I think it might have 10 years ago, even maybe 8 years ago, but now I don't think so. I think he's past that point, and he can basically do whatever he wants, however he wants to do it. And my understanding is that he's already rejected that. So I'd be surprised if he goes to Aston. Of course, it's still a possibility. They could throw 2 million, 3 million at him. Who knows? Sorry, billion, 2 billion, 3 billion at him, and he could well go. So that could happen. The next one is Mercedes, and if he's thinking, they will offer him a lot of money, I would imagine as well. And if he's thinking of going there, his option would be, if I'm going to go to Mercedes, am I going to go to Ferrari? Which one would I rather go to? Because they're both two big political teams. They both won races in the relatively recent past. He knows he can do a good job at both of them. Which one would he rather go to? My gut feeling is that he'd rather go to Ferrari if it's going to be one of those two, because it's just probably going to be a bit more fun being in Italy, a completely new challenge, and he probably has a lot of faith, I would imagine, in Freddie Vasseur, and he quite likes the whole business of a completely new challenge and winning with Ferrari, I guess. But it brings with it a lot of drama, like, all the politics, the pressure. Both of them do. So will he go there? My main thought about Ferrari is, if he does go to Ferrari, I just cannot help feeling absolutely, wretched for Carlos Sainz, because it's one thing to have been given the news that he's got now, which is that he's got to leave at the end of the year, being fired basically at the end of the year, replaced by Lewis Hamilton. It's even worse if he knows that at the end of the year, Adrian Newey is going to be joining for Ferrari, and he's going to leave an Adrian Newey Ferrari team. I mean, that's almost too much for any human being to have to accept, really. So I really feel sorry for Carlos Sainz if Adrian does go to Ferrari. If he goes to Ferrari, almost certainly they will be straight away, I would say even in 2025, they will be race-winning team. They'll be really good in 25. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Adrian Newey, how are they not going to win races in 25? Whether they win a championship, another matter. I mean, if Red Bull, don't forget the regulations are basically fixed through to the end of 2025, then it's the new regs for 26. So Red Bull, even without Adrian in 25, he's on gardening leave or whatever, or sort of half working for Ferrari, they're going to cruise on the momentum they've got and all the things they're doing and the building blocks they've got and the team they've got there. And they will, I say cruise, they will just continue on in cruise control, if you like, into 25. And they'll still be quick in 25 and do well. But if you're Max Verstappen, you're definitely concerned about 26 and beyond. If you're Max, you're thinking, yeah, we can get through 25 probably with everybody that's there and the cars, we know it, and the little upgrades that we've already got planned. But 26, Max will be thinking, this is serious now. I need to think about what we're going to do. If Adrian's going to Ferrari, for Max Verstappen, that's quite a big issue, isn't it? It's going to be Mercedes or staying where he is without Adrian Newey, and then it's going to be interesting. It's going to be good for Formula One, I think you could say. It's going to liven up Formula One a lot, and the only way it won't be a major problem for Max is if Adrian doesn't go to Ferrari or Aston or Mercedes, and then everything's sort of neutralised and they can sort of continue more or less as they are, obviously with less input from Adrian than ever before at Red Bull, since 2005. I think it was 2005 when he joined. So yeah, it's a difficult one for Max, because he can't go to Ferrari, quite clearly. He could go to Mercedes, but are they going to be, if they don't have Adrian, are they going to be any better than Red Bull anyway? Why would you want to have George Russell in the other car? And what would Mercedes do? Would they run George with Max, or would they run Max with Antonelli maybe, and have Max there instead of George? That wouldn't be a bad option for Max. It's at least a different team, different feel to it. But Mercedes would have to look pretty good in terms of what they're doing with the car for 26 to entice him to leave Red Bull. So basically, the whole Adrian Newey thing is, I can't think of a better cliche than throwing a spanner in the works, because it has. It's really, it's really changed things around, and it's changed the dynamic of where everyone is. So there is a question here. The first one was Arnab Das. He's talking about Jim Clark, and really this is about Adrian Newey, but I just can't resist putting this up because it's about Jim Clark, so why wouldn't I? Let me have a look, so make sure that's coming up, is it? Yeah, there you go. He says, hello, Peter. Hope you're doing well. Thanks to you, I'm Jim Clark's biggest fan. I've been watching you for almost 5 years. I never really commented much, so I wanted to ask what you make of... then he says, Adrian Newey leaving Red Bull. Okay, so it was a very good question, Adam. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad you're a Jim Clark fan. I'm going to Duns, going to Jim Clark territory this weekend, actually, on Sunday. There's going to be a little memorial for Ian Scott Watson, who was Jim Clark's manager, the guy that got him into racing, really. And without Ian Scott Watson, Jim Clark may never have started racing or had the career that he had. And he passed away last year, and they're doing a nice little service for him, which we're flying over for, so looking forward to that. So Ariosto says, back to building racing boats. Well, yeah, possibly, because that's what he loves. I mean, there's lots of things that Adrian does love. I mean, that's the great thing about him. He just loves, he's got so many things he wants to do, I suspect. And he's been around a long time. Does he really want to do all that travel and have all that pressure and all those politics and stuff? Sean Rockwell says, hoping he goes to Aston Martin. The speculation of Ferrari, I don't feel that would be a challenge, though. Really? I think it'd be a challenge. It wouldn't be a challenge to go to Ferrari. It's a challenge for anybody to go to Ferrari. Luke Herzinga says, it's going to be Audi. Well, there you go. There's a new one. I didn't even mention Audi. Possibly. Wow. Well, that would be good. Yeah. He'd certainly, bearing in mind, I don't know if you saw the live stream I did last week, but I'm sure he would certainly kick some energy into that place, because there isn't much going on at the moment. My buddy who was just travelling through there took some pictures over the weekend. There was just, car park was empty. This is a Formula One design operation going on at the moment. And I can't imagine Milton Keynes' car park's empty on a Sunday or a Saturday. Kim Cefala says, I really hope McLaren tries to get him back. So there's another one, Zach Brown. And then Zach, of course, is massively into his classic historic race cars as well, as is Adrian. They're probably quite good mates. They're both doing the Monaco Classic. So, Zach will be in there. Absolutely, he'll be in there trying to get Adrian back, won't he? Roberto D'Amico says, hi, Peter. Thanks for doing this live chat. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Well, I can't really say that I'm bringing massive news, but I am expressing my thoughts and why he's left, and I think his options are as I've described them. So there you go. He's already, Vineeth Menon echoing what I've said. Aston already have made an offer, and he's said no to that. A lot of money. That would have been Aramco Saudi Arabian money. So good on you, Adrian. From what I understand, they may treble it, and he may well go there, but at the moment he's holding out. Yeah, okay. Ibex says he predicted that Adrian would leave Red Bull. Good on you. Very good. Well, we've been talking about it for a long time, potential for him to leave. I've always said I didn't think he'd leave because of the Horner thing. And I think I stand by that. But then I do think I think, what happened there is basically 20 years ago, everybody said, oh, good on you, or whatever they would have said, it would have just been swept under the carpet. But now I think there's a trust thing that's happened, and I think that's the issue. So anyway, Miguel G Comics. Will Max be next? If so, this may be the beginning of the end of Red Bull. Yeah, he may well be next, but if Adrian goes to Ferrari, where's Max going to go? I mean, as I say, either stay where he is or go to Merck. 6 of one, half a dozen the other, I would imagine. Probably not, really. Probably better to be at Red Bull, because at least he knows the team and that they've got some momentum from the whole Adrian thing. My Tin Plate Railway is also saying, why not Audi? Well, there you go. Yeah, why not? Maybe. But they're designing the car at Nürburgring, aren't they? And it's going to be run out of Sauber in Switzerland. Augusto says, hi, Peter. On the subject of Newey, which other designers, engineers, or trackside employees would you say stand out throughout time? Thanks for the live chat. Always lovely to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much. Well, obviously Colin Chapman, I would say Funnily enough, I'm going to surprise a lot of you by saying Maurice Nunn. I always think Maurice Nunn was very underrated as a racing driver, semi-designer, race engineer, general organizer of a race team. I always think he did a very good job, and he proved to be a great race engineer when he went to Indy. So I wouldn't say he's not in Adrian Newey's class, but you're talking about standout people, and I would say he was one. Rudolf Uhlenhaut was another. Mercedes, 1950, well, all of Mercedes in the 50s. In recent times, I think Bob Bell is very good. I mean, there's so many. It's very difficult to go through them all. I mean, obviously Ross Brawn, Patrick Head, well, so many of them. I can't even remember them all. They're all different in the way they operate, different talents. And as I said in the previous live stream, Adrian's, I think his genius is his ability to combine so many different talents and put them together in this one genie bottle of being a great race engineer, a very good design engineer, a very good engine engineer, and a brilliant aerodynamicist. And put them all those together, and that's Adrian Newey. He's a very special guy. So Gary T says he's always dreamt of Alonso driving a Newey car. Do we have a chance now? Well, what we understand is that he's not going to go there, but you never know. Money might talk in the end. At the moment, I think he's said no to that. So that's where we're at with that. So Rahul Lekhi says, a loss for Red Bull, but don't think anyone can benefit either, since Adrian has a clause in his contract that he can't join anyone till 2027. Is that right? Yeah, maybe. If that's right, that is quite a big deal. But I don't know. I just can't imagine that those things really... I mean, Adrian could almost operate a design office remotely, could he not? And just be gardening and saying, no, we don't want the flange there, we want it over here. Yeah, okay, right, gotcha. I'm just a bit skeptical about all that gardening leave stuff. I suppose it's all policeable these days, but if he's going to go to Ferrari in 27, I can't imagine that he wouldn't be talking to anybody at Ferrari between now and 2027. But if he doesn't, then he ain't going to be doing very much, I don't think, because he'll love life so much between now and 27 that he'll find it difficult to come back, I would imagine. Keckle says, is this already confirmed or still speculation? I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed. What does that mean? Of course, I haven't had an email from Red Bull or from Adrian saying so. So here goes the next one here. The Gotta Damarong saying BBC is reporting that he's leaving because of unhappiness over the Horner allegations in Power Stroll. He left. Lots of people. You're saying, what's going on here? Hello? My sound is too low for a laptop. What's going on? I should have my normal mic on, am I not? Yeah. My normal mic is on, is it not? If it wasn't, my apologies, because the audio should be perfect, as normal. Maybe it got turned off or something. Sorry about that if that's the case. I think it's fine now, right? Hope so. Okay, but thanks for that, whoever left that message there, because that's not a good thing. Go. It says computer is it's your computer. Sound is fine. Good. That's good to know. Thank you very much. I did click a thing there, so I want to make sure that it is. I just got to check my sound levels now. Yeah, it looks to be perfect. Okay, good. Back to square one on that. It's so annoying when technical things go on. Ibex. Newey almost moved to Ferrari a couple of times before, around a decade ago. Offered reported 20 million. If he goes to another team, I'd say Ferrari most likely. Well, yeah, he did, absolutely. And it was very near to happening. Was it a decade ago? I thought it was more recently than that. And he got to the point where he was with Luca Montezemolo and they'd agreed a contract and agreed all the terms. But then Christian managed to salvage the deal and persuade him to stay at Red Bull, and part of that was doing the Valkyrie road car and other things that he enjoyed doing, a bit of boating, and so here he is. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's because he almost went that he might go this time. I think Ferrari is a team, like as Lewis Hamilton's showing, that a lot of people do want to work for, and a lot of drivers, ask for Sebastian Vettel, a lot of people go there because they just want to experience what it's like going to Ferrari and working for Ferrari. And so that might be it. Sound, Ollie. Sound is fine for me. Anyway, who knows? Sound level's good. It's not the people talking about sound. MX says, Adrian loves Verstappen in the way he works. Hopefully they will reunite. Horner loses everything. And there's a big heart there. Oh no, there's a heart for the reuniting. Yeah, I'm sure Adrian does love the way Max works. I think he loved the way Sebastian Vettel worked when they were winning races. I think Adrian's always had a lot of respect. He had a lot of respect for Mark Webber as well. He probably, in his own way, has quite a lot of respect for Sergio Perez as well, I think. But yeah, for sure, he has a great synergy with Max Verstappen because he's just a brilliant racing driver who gets in the Adrian Newey car and gets 100% from it. So there you go. Johan B says, Adrian's wife didn't want to live in Italy. Well, maybe. All these things. What's all this? Dalibor G. So Horner will need to deal not only without Newey, but also a new engine. Quite a big bite. Yeah, well, maybe Christian will think, I've had enough of all this stuff and go and do something else. Who knows? Anything can happen. I'm going to repeat my point though. If he does go to Ferrari, my heart bleeds for Carlos Sainz. I mean, imagine what that must be like, walking out of Maranello for the last time, knowing that 2 days later Adrian Newey's about to join the team and do a brilliant racing car for them. Oh, poor Carlos. He doesn't deserve that. On the other hand, if Adrian goes to Audi, Carlos Sainz, Audi, Mango, wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing if Adrian went to Audi and Audi ran Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz? Here's a question. How do you think it will affect the grid if Newey retires completely from the sport? Arbor Shala. It will definitely make things tighter. It'll definitely bring Red Bull back in towards the rest over a period of time. Not instantly, as I say. I think they'll 25. You won't see much effect, but I think over time it'll bring everybody back. Adrian's that special. He's that good. Just as Colin Chapman used to be that good in the 60s and 70s. So it'll be the same thing. There's a super chat here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at that one. Higgs Boson. Hi there. Hi Peter. Thank you. Sorry, have I got this showing or not? I should have. 1 second. No, it's not coming through. Why is that not coming through? Anyway, it's a super chat and thank you very much. And he says, thank you for all your hard work and dedication to the sport. I listen to all of your live streams and videos with pleasure. It'll be interesting to see what Max does. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what Max does. I don't think, I'm sorry I couldn't get that one to come up. I don't know why. I don't think Max has got much. Well, it depends. Max will follow Adrian if Adrian goes to Mercedes. Probably, I can't imagine Mercedes wouldn't want to get Max with Adrian, but I don't think he would to Aston Martin, and because they've got Fernando and they'll keep Stroll in the other car, so and he can't go to Ferrari, so it's kind of difficult, isn't it? Luke Dermott is saying, what happens if Adrian goes to Mercedes? How annoyed will Lewis Hamilton be? Yeah, you can say that again. I mean, that's a good point, isn't it? Imagine if that did happen. Imagine Lewis. Oof, that's all actually worse situation than for Carlos Sainz, probably. Omar Sibeles says hello, and I'm saying hello back. Thank you very much. What else? RS60 Alec says Adrian Newey to Scuderia. Yeah, to the Scuderia Ferrari. Carlos Perez says, that's a good name, says, howdy from Austin. I'm not doing a very good job of bringing these up, am I? This is so flaky, this chat thing tonight. It's probably just very busy internet or something. Aston maybe says CH3MG33K. I'm going to release a few more chats now. I'm going to go to the bottom and work back, I think. Might be quite fun. What's all this? In my opinion, Peter has become the E.F. Hutton of F1. I think that's a compliment, is it? I hope so. If it's not, I'm sorry. I do my best. And there's a lot more down here. How about, a lot of people are saying Audi. What about this one? A Rosberg-Hamilton. Don't you think we at least deserve a Rosberg-Hamilton-like battle by Red Bull replacing Perez with Sainz? Now, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? Now, that is an interesting thought, Omar, who's raised that point. If Adrian has now left Red Bull, will that change the dynamic of Red Bull wanting to keep Sergio Perez alongside Max, or maybe get Carlos Sainz in the car? It's a very good thought, because they may say, well, we may not have the same advantage in 2025. We need the two best guys we can get. Finish with all this, wingman for Max. And Carlos Sainz, they may say, is quicker than Sergio Perez. Let's get Carlos Sainz in the car alongside Max. That might happen. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point. Thank you very much, Omar. Apo Papava says, Audi, 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 Audi. Okay, good. A lot of people think he might go to Audi. So here we go. Some could potentially be driving a Newey car. Should he go to Ferrari or Aston Martin, the Pininfarina of the current era? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, road cars, race cars, boats, he can do it, can't he? John82 says Carlos needs a multi-year contract. He deserves that. And you're absolutely right. He does deserve it. He's done a very good job. So Redlingstein says, and please don't forget, it's gone, sorry. Oh, here we don't forget, it's not Newey alone, but a full team of aero engineers and Wacker and Wash and Monahan that are the technical design team at Red Bull Racing. Well, Paul Monahan, top man, great guy. I'm not sure he spends that much time behind a drawing board doing CFD. He's a real great performance race engineer, head of performance engineering, I think. So it will definitely have an effect. I mean, obviously, as I say, Adrian will have built up a great team there, and they will have learned a lot from Adrian. And the team will continue in 25 winning races for sure. Whether they win a championship now is not so much of a given. That's what I think is the situation. Paul Muscat says, I think he will go to Aston Martin as Lawrence Stroll will want to complete the team. Well, Lawrence Stroll will want to complete the team and he will want to have Adrian Newey. Whether or not Adrian wants to go there and whether or not he's going to take the Aramco Stroll money to do that, I don't know. Paul Lavallee says, hello from Canada, Peter. You have the most trusted content on the internet. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you to say so. I'm feeling a little bit in the dark at the moment because I'm not saying to anyone, this is what Adrian's going to do. But I think it's because he doesn't actually made a decision. And I think he is, at the moment, he's just decided to leave for the reasons that I expressed. And I think we'll see what happens. And if he doesn't race again, absolutely hats off to Adrian and congratulations on a brilliant career. Scroopy Noopers, Peter, when are you moving to Cape Town? Well, I'd love to move. Well, I don't want to move to Cape Town. I'd love to visit Cape Town pretty soon, actually. Thank you very much. If that's a semi-invitation, I love it. Let's have a look. MVD says Aston Martin bound, not Ferrari. 1 year gardening leave. We're talking about Aiden de Vuren, as Adrian already started a 2025 concept 26 car in his mind. I'm sure he has, but in his mind I'm sure Adrian's also thinking, the rule book was this big, now it's this big, do I really want to do this? I keep clicking on something, and there's so many questions coming in that it goes on to the next one. Make Alonso champion again. There you go, Joss the boss. Well, yeah, I think if Adrian went to Aston Martin, I think Alonso would be world champion. I think he would. The whole gardening leave thing and what Adrian can do in 25 obviously is a big thing. But there's no doubt that if he was there, it would be very, very good for Adrian, for Fernando Alonso. It'd be difficult to design a new car by a new team with a cost cap. Peter, it's just flashing. It's moving so quickly. Here's another super chat anyway. Let's have a look. Oh, it's the same one. Sorry. Just a bit clearer this time. Rob Marshall at McLaren. Maybe he would go there with Rob Marshall. Yeah, Sleepy Pixie. Good point. Rob Marshall there now. Lots of years and experience with Adrian. Adrian probably I think he hired Rob, didn't he? So he would like Rob Marshall a lot. And maybe that's a good thought. Maybe he'd go back to McLaren. Zach Brown, they can race their classic McLarens, and maybe he'll let Adrian go out in the MP44 periodically. Maybe, it's not completely and utterly impossible. Adrian with Rob Marshall at McLaren, nice setup. I think they've got good people on the ground there. It's a well-run team. Yeah, he could do that. A lot of mind reading going on. Yep, you're absolutely right. We're all mind reading. Oh, Apo Papava says he's going to the FIA. Yeah, right. I don't think this will happen, says Ibex, but I'd love to see Newey end his career back with the greatest Formula One team ever, Williams. Well, being a Williams fan, sort of, I say sort of, I'm a Williams fan of the Williams that I know and love. So I would love to see that as well. Well, no, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd want to see him at the current Williams, to be honest. Baumik Sutha says, are you visiting the Formula 1 exhibition in Toronto opening next week? Thank you very much for that. I'm not actually going to be at the opening. I'm definitely going to be going to the exhibition, and obviously I'll be putting in a lot of work for that Toronto exhibition and looking forward to seeing how it looks with its Canadian slant. And I think everyone's going to love it. We've had tremendous reception for the opening of Toronto, and it's going to be good. Looking forward to it. Surprisingly enough, there's a lot of Villeneuve in there. What else are we going to do? I'm going to have to wind it up soon because this is an impromptu one. Niida Vida says, it will be a shock if he moves back to McLaren. I'm sure it's a long shot. Dacia says, Newey will go to Aston Martin, and in 25, Max will join in the Alonso seat. Really? But I don't think, what's Alonso going to do at that point? Sue them for $1 billion and probably get the money, I suppose, of what will happen. Another super chat come in. Is that one? Yes, from Zubia Crazy Z Bassi Y. With Red Bull in no rush to make a decision and Daniel's uptick in form, Sergio's starting to look replaceable again. Do you agree? Kind of. Yeah, it's no, they're in no rush to make a decision. I mean, everybody in the world wants to drive for Red Bull, even with Adrian having said what he's going to leave. I'm not sure about Daniel. I think there's more chance maybe for Carlos Sainz to go there, which would be, I think it'd be great if he did. But equally, if Adrian's going to go to Audi, that's where obviously Carlos Sainz needs to be. Airfar says, is it Lance who wants to drive in Formula One, or is Lawrence forcing his son to stay in Formula One? I don't know. I really don't know. I think Lawrence, the father, believes his son is quite capable of winning the World Championship. And usually when anything bad happens to Lance, like he runs into the car in front, he's always blaming the car in front and not Lance. He's a total fan of Lance Stroll. Unsurprisingly, he's his dad, and he's doing the whole thing for his son to have the tool he needs in order to win races. So whether Lance still has the burning desire and fire in his belly is another matter. I don't know. I don't know him at all, so I can't really say. I know he quite likes the idea of rallying. I think he's quite good at tennis, isn't he? But then he, to his credit, he's done a lot of work with Rob Wilson. And that does show that there's a side of him which understands that he does need to work hard at this, and potentially, he can learn every time he goes there, which is the right attitude. This is from Nawal, another super chat. Thank you, Nawal. I don't know why these super chats aren't showing. Every time I click on them, they just go faint. It's very odd. Hi, Peter. Hope you're well. Does the fact that Mr. Newey nailed the 2022 regulations mean that he will do so in 26? Well, yeah, I think he will nail them. Well, it's slightly different because he nailed the 22 regulations because basically all the design work for the rest of the car was put to a minor consideration, and all of the emphasis was on how to maximize the ground effect that you're able to generate under the car with the minimum amount of bouncing and the maximum amount of efficient downforce so that you could run a lot of downforce with not a lot of drag. And Adrian pulled that off brilliantly, and he's had an advantage ever since. In 26, the regulations are going a different way because it's 50% electrification. So that is a completely different emphasis on the new Formula One. And then it's not as much talk about we've got to have cars that make it easy to follow the car in front and the aero is designed for this and that. It's all about electrification and active aero and other things. And it's not the same as the 22 regs. That's not to say that Adrian wouldn't be able to embrace all that and maximize everything. Whether he loves the concept of 50% electrification and it probably going even further as we go down the road is another matter. I've never asked him, funnily enough. I suppose I should have, but because it just seems such a trite question. What do you think of electric cars? I've never asked him, but for a guy that his nirvana is to race a 1968 Lotus 49B around Monaco, you wouldn't ask him what he thinks of electric cars, would you? So I can't imagine Adrian's completely in love with the new 26 regulations. That's another important point, isn't it? So Sleepy Pixie thinks McLaren. I think that's what he's saying. Rob Marshall there, blah. So yeah. So I was just going back to that super chat. So that was it. Lawson, with a lot of chat about Lawson now. El Bastardo 74. Peter, can Newey really change Ferrari as Schumacher did? Oh yeah. Michael did a very good job of bringing very good engineers and management people to Ferrari with Jean Todt and Ross Brawn, and had a great setup there. It's a different thing, and there's no doubt. I mean, Enzo Ferrari himself always said, when you cross the line, it's to win a race, it's 60% car, 40% driver. That's not to say that the driver often doesn't play more than a 40% role. He does play a 40% role. Did I say 50 or 40? I meant 40 if I said 60, 40%. And if he does, that 40% often becomes 50, sometimes more, if a really good driver is getting the maximum from a mediocre car, enabling a very good team of engineers then very rapidly to develop that car to new peaks. And then that driver has obviously played a greater role than 40%. But when the job is done and the car is good and the driver's good and everything's happening, it's 60-40 in Enzo's mind. And I kind of agree with him on that. And I think in this instance, it would be good team of drivers, pretty good management, new engineer going in with new engineering philosophy, changing the way Ferrari design and work and creating a faster racing car. That in itself is a huge step, huge leap, and it's one person bringing it. So it's, in my opinion, it's not really comparable with the Michael thing, because the Michael thing was a complete package, whereas this would be just Adrian going in and doing what he does. But the effect will be just as dramatic, if not more so, actually. He'll take Ferrari from, if he goes there, he'll take Ferrari from being a team that is sort of closing the gap to Red Bull, but still quite a long way away over a season, and in terms of time management and everything else, to a team that's actually quite quickly probably better than Red Bull, and almost certainly will be championship, almost straight away. Some more super chats. Sammy LJ, What if it's not just the car? Sergio Lowe is the Red Bull standard and Max is just a superb human. Is he a robot? Has anybody checked? Yeah, I mean, you're right. Obviously, and the reason you can say, well, you know, if it was only Perez in the car and another driver, not Max, Red Bull wouldn't be winning races. They wouldn't be winning championships. But the whole point is the reason Perez is in the car is because Max is in the other car. And if they didn't have Max, they wouldn't have Perez and they wouldn't have Perez and Bottas, for example. They would have Leclerc, or they would have Hamilton, or they'd have Russell, or somebody, or Lando maybe. They'd have somebody, a race winner in there. So that comparison is a little bit spurious, if that's the right word. This is from Masson. If Adrian Newey goes to Ferrari, is there time for the move to help Lewis win another Drivers' Championship and Ferrari Team Championship, in your opinion? Yes. Yes, there is. As I say, behind the scenes, without turning up for work at Maranello, I think Adrian could do quite a lot to steer Ferrari on the straight and narrow and get them in a position where they're giving Leclerc and Hamilton a race-winning car. Definitely. But it wouldn't be an obvious thing, because, you know, if he's got to work out gardening leave, he's got to work out gardening leave, isn't he? But he can still do quite a lot from the flower bed, in my opinion. Matthew Brown, another super chat. Thank you very much, Matthew. Ferrari doesn't seem like they need Adrian on their current form. Mercedes look like a proper challenge to tackle, as he did at Red Bull. Yeah, does. Yeah, don't be deceived. I mean, Max is winning races at the slowest possible speed. Yes, Ferrari have done a much better job than Mercedes over the winter at closing the gap to Red Bull, and they've got a car with more downforce now, more efficient, usable downforce. They've lost a bit of top speed. That's the problem. And it's a very difficult balance to generate more downforce without losing top speed. And that's what Adrian would be looking at if he went there right now. Not that he can because of the whole gardening leave thing, but he would be looking to get more top speed out of the car for sure, because they're slower than Red Bull circuit to circuit in a straight line, and then beyond that, more downforce, more usable downforce, by which I mean drivable sweet spot stuff. And I don't think Ferrari are there, so I don't think you would say, oh, on their current form Ferrari don't need Adrian. They do, for sure they do. Any team needs Adrian Newey. It's quite easy to fall off the wagon if you lose a driver like Adrian quite quickly. Mercedes, yeah, for sure a challenge. Both of them would be challenges though, because Ferrari would be a challenge and it'd be a new country, new team, new culture, new everything. Mercedes, a little bit like Red Bull, just up the road or down the road, and yeah, different challenges. You know, be good in some ways, but more difficult in some ways, probably a bit more bureaucratic, I would think. Actually, I think Ferrari, if he's going to go to Ferrari, they'd give him a clean sheet of paper to have complete autonomy, I would imagine. I'm sure that's what Freddie would say. Was that Matthew Brown's question? Yeah, I think we've done all the super chats. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to wind it up now, guys, because I've got lots of other stuff I need to get onto, but I just wanted to do this and share this moment with everybody, you know, out there, because when big events happen, it's always a big thing. Apo Papava, again, thanks for all your questions. Peter, don't you think that, just want to make sure these are coming through. Yeah, they are. Don't you think that Adrian, let me see what it was. Don't you think that for Adrian, if it's not for the money, going to a team like Haas with Behrman next year would be the ultimate challenge? Yeah, he would love that. He'd probably love something like that. But I think he's been around a bit too long to keep wanting those challenges of refreshing his motivation. He's got enough things to refresh him just by classic Formula One and boats and road cars and all the other stuff. And Harry, his son, who's a very good racing driver, should have been given a better opportunity to race and show his talent, I think, than he was given. And I'm sure Adrian thinks that. And he's got his family life. He's all those things out there. I don't think Adrian's sitting here thinking, I need a challenge, in the same way that he made that decision to go to Red Bull, leaving McLaren and Williams to go to this team that he could bring up. I don't think that's the motive. I don't think that'll be the motivation, to be honest. So yeah, Scroopy Noopers says, he's talking to Andre here. Well, it was all about why he was in Italy, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to... Damon Hill saying Newey should look at McLaren. Well, I think he should look at McLaren because, as I say, Rob is a really good bloke, good guy, like Rob Marshall a lot, very talented man, good people manager as well, nice person. Zach doing a pretty, impressive job there these days. And Adrian and Zach will have all those other things in common, long distance sports car racing, classic cars. In a way, there's a lot of stuff there, isn't there? Anyway, guys, I'm going to have to wind it up now because it's going on, and we can talk about this for hours, and I'm sure you guys will in the pub or wherever you're going to be or wherever. But in the meantime, thanks everybody for queuing in on this and taking part, and everybody who haven't got to, my apologies yet again. I feel bad when I can't get to everybody's questions, but thanks for watching. We'll do some more stuff, and if Adrian does make a decision or there's more news breaking on all of that, obviously we'll get on to the live stream again. So watch this space, I guess, is what we're saying. So thanks very much, everyone. See you soon. Be safe.